Olá a todos, bem-vindos a mais uma conversa da Look Mag. Hoje sem imagem, mas vale muito a pena porque temos uns dois convidados de mão cheia. Vou começar por apresentar o elemento masculino, ex-baterista do Slayer, Dave Lombardo, já tocou com os Misfits, Mr. Bungle, Dead Cross, Testament and Empire State Bastard. Junta-se agora a Paula, sua mulher, num novo projeto, Venamoris, que está prestes a lançar o seu segundo álbum. Obviamente tenho comigo o casal mais maravilhoso, que é Paula e Dave Lombardo. Paula, Dave, thank you for accepting our invitation and I'm so happy for having you here. Welcome to our talks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Paula, can I start by asking you something?
Of course.
You started your career at 18.
Yes.
And for a decade, you were backing vocals in Las Vegas for Wayne Newton, an icon in Las Vegas City. How did this whole happen?
Well, it's a strange story. I had a cassette tape of 4 songs that somehow found its way to one of Wayne's dear friends. And when he was visiting Wayne in Vegas, he decided to just put that cassette tape in his robe. So when Wayne left after a show one day, it would be in his pocket in this robe that he always wore on his way home. So when he was driving, he found the cassette tape and played it. And I got a phone call the next day to come out and just watch the show to see if it's something I'd be interested in. And I did a quick I sang with the orchestra leader, the conductor, backstage just so they could verify that I was who they heard. And they had me on stage the next day. So it was very fast.
Because they knew the quality they have in hands, huh?
Oh.
And when you then change from Las Vegas to Nashville, it's a big change because I know Las Vegas. I don't know Nashville, but I do know Las Vegas. And my dear God, what a city. And I imagine that it's very different from Nashville. What make you make that change?
I just decided after, a decade of working with Wayne, which was incredible, that I just wanted to explore who I am. As a backup singer, you're singing other people's music all the time, and it's very rewarding. It's also very safe. And I just wanted to know if there was anything else I could do. And so I decided to move to Nashville for that reason.
And you prove it well, huh?
Oh, thank you.
Dave, when you met Paula, did you know that she had this incredible voice and an extraordinary ability to write lyrics?
No, I didn't. I didn't know anything about her career, anything about her singing. And she was very reluctant, to give me any information about, her songwriting career or anything. She kept that kind of a secret for a little bit until, she finally, started telling me stories and telling me about her life and what she had done. And then that one day she sent me her demos that she had created in Nashville. I was blown away. It's like, oh my God, you have a beautiful voice. It's like, why didn't you continue? And it just, she had answers for that, I'm sure we'll get into some of those, but it was beautiful. And I remember I was in Slayer at the time and I was listening to the music, in my hotel room and just loving it. I remember playing it for some of the members in Slayer and they said, wow, that's really nice, So, it was very innocent. She didn't want to date any musicians. She didn't. She said nope.
Didn't work out.
After Vegas and Nashville, she then moved to California, and but then she met me, and I don't know, thought I was kind of special. And she stayed with me.
Now you hit the jackpot because you have a wonderful woman, beautiful and so talented. Imagine you had the jackpot, Dave.
Yeah, I didn't at the time, you know, because we met and we fell in love very organically. It wasn't for any other reason
That's
but
wonderful.
our souls, you know, feeling good around each other. And then, you know, it took probably 10 years after we had met until we released
Until we started working
until we started working on the first Venamoris album. It was 10 years. So, and then I really didn't get her to start writing until 2020. And that's when she started, okay, I'm going to start writing, and, you know, and here we are, our second record.
Yeah, Paula, it was a big secret to keep only for yourself during 10 years. Didn't you sing in the shower?
No, she didn't.
She didn't.
Oh, no.
No.
Honestly, I really didn't. I just stopped. I don't know. I wasn't finding joy in it for myself anymore, you know, and I just was pursuing maybe more the business side of it. And I just walked away, and I don't know. It was such a strange feeling to love something so much from the, you know, from youth, and just to feel nothing for it all of a sudden. So, you know, all credit to Dave here for helping me break down those barriers. Pandemic, you know, was so tragic and horrible on so many levels, but on some levels it was also a gift to a lot of people, and finding another level in the relationships. And that was what happened with us. You know, he was finally off tour, and we really got to, he was my therapist. We got to kind of work through everything, and then the floodgates opened.
Yeah. So this project is kind of a son of COVID.
Yeah,
it is.
A little bit.
It is. It's our little babies.
Yeah.
You know, our little butterflies flying around in the world.
Yep.
Exactly. And when you were, everybody was kept home during the pandemic. And like Paula said, for some people it was not so good, but for the others it was wonderful, and that was your case.
Yes.
But when Dave began to listen to you and the things that you have done before, how did it work the next step when you decided both, well, we can do something together? How did it all come about, the project?
Well, we, like, on occasion, after he knew, you know, that I did songwrite a bit and everything, he tried, you know, when I think back of the years leading up to, he did really try to, like, find ways to help me break through whatever this was. So I was playing guitar quite a bit. He bought a left-handed guitar because he's left-handed, and he would try and learn some of my songs, just like, you know, but that didn't really work. And then in pandemic, when all that happened, he said, hey, have you ever tried playing your songs on the piano? Because that's my first instrument. And I said, no, actually, I haven't. So I started doing that. And that led to him teaching me Pro Tools, a system.
It's a recording software that they use in studios. Mm-hmm. And she, you know, I taught her, you know, okay, we open up a session and record the piano. And once we have the click track, the metronome, and then the piano and the song laid out, then we could start adding other instrumentation. And I could add drums, and she could add harmonies and other vocals and sounds and effects.
Yeah, he actually really, like, helped me open up. You know, for a lot of people, when you're songwriting, you already envision maybe some instrumentation that you want or the backup vocals that you want to hear. So he gave me the tools to start laying that down, so I could see the idea come to life a lot faster. And it just, you know, the first two songs that we wrote were the first and last song of our first album. So Let Me Be and So Good. Those were the first two creations. And after that, it was just consistent. We just kept going.
Well, Dave was lucky to find you, but you were lucky to find him, because he's one of the best drummers in the whole world.
Absolutely.
A funny story. When we first met, she had just moved to California. She was going to move back to Canada because she's from Canada.
She's Canada,
yeah. And so she was going to move back. She had a little bit of time left on her visa. And so she was, well, I have a couple of years. I'm going to move to California and see what happens. So she was living with some friends, and they would go to this club or bar, but there was a lot of, younger guys, and so
yeah, I was only in my 30s and I felt ancient.
Yeah,
it was terrible, just terrible.
Yeah, go on, tell them the rest.
And then a mutual friend of ours invited me to
the Troubadour.
The Troubadour, and Dave was playing there, and I didn't know who Dave was, and of course,
really, you didn't know?
I know, and of course, I'd heard of Slayer in my life. You'd have to live under a rock not to, but I never went down that path musically, and so I didn't really know what to expect or what I was walking into. But Dave walked by me, and I texted my friend right away, and I said, "Hey, there's hot guys in this bar, and they're over 30. And then he went up behind the drum set, and I texted her back and said, "Never mind, he's a drummer." So that's our very first how innocent this was.
Yeah, and then and then we met, and then she saw who I really was.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And then it's been great since then. But that was it. Yeah.
That's wonderful. You identify yourselves like on the press release that you sent to the media as a darkly romantic duo. And I want to ask you why, and what is the meaning of Venamoris?
Okay.
Both questions.
The first, the first question. It's. I'm sorry, I didn't quite get the first question.
Why you identify yourselves as a darkly romantic duo?
I first of all, the lyrics are slightly dark.
Yeah, they are.
just a little bit. And so. But all the songs that we have, you see, Paula's been a kind of a writing machine. We have, aside from the 10 songs that we just released, there's like another 15 that were not part of the record because those songs didn't fit the body of the record and the sound and kind of the darkness that it encompassed. And so we feel that the strongest direction for this duo is going in the direction of like kind of a dark Gothic vibe.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. And it seems like that is the direction I feel most comfortable in. Mm-hmm. I love minor keys, and I love, these minor chords. And, of course, being in Slayer and the music that I've played in my life, I love music that is a little darker than most. I don't like happy music, and so Venamoris, I think, with the style that we've kind of created, I think that's it's the style we're most comfortable in right now. Mm-hmm. I mean, not to say that we're going to release, one day we will release those other songs, but with our publishing company, there might be songs that maybe we put in commercials, in movies, in television shows. Maybe we'll use those for that instead of the Venamoris project.
Yeah.
And the name.
And the name.
Yes, it's it's Venamoris is the vein that runs from your ring finger to your heart. They say there's a vein that runs from that finger, from your wedding ring finger to your heart. And so we saw that word we saw that phrase or word. And we decided to instead of it being two words, just bring them together as in, as one.
And it goes so well together.
It does. Yeah. It does.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. You remind me. I'm from the 80s, and during the 80s, there were in high school a gang that listened to Slayer. And there was another gang that listened to Sisters of Mercy and Six and the Benches and The Cure. And I was on that. Always sad, very gothic, very dark. And when I listen to your songs, I I kind of remember what my soul told me back then. And
Wow.
I brought that soul from to this day when I'm 53 years old. And I was so happy to listen because the songs, the lyrics are very strong and very dark, but then all the music around it, it's so actual, so modern, so impactful, and that it's wonderful. I think you got it.
Oh,
Wow, thank you so
that
much.
is
I had
such a
to
great
tell it.
description.
Oh, I love that so much.
Yeah, I'm
I had
really
to tell it.
excited.
I had to tell it because it's really wonderful.
Wow.
In 2003, you released your first album, Drowning Emotions, and now you are launching your second, To Cross or To Burn. But you during this time you change label. Do you think this change of label it will be like a change in the project's strategy, like the way you want to show it to the world, or it was
Um,
just it did happen?
no, this was it's not going to change anything. What I love about the labels that we've been working with is that they allow us to be ourselves.
Yeah.
Paula really likes to do things at her pace. She's very much an introvert. She doesn't like to be out in the spotlight, and so the record company understands that, and both record companies understood that, and they let us go at our pace. So I think this change was an interesting change. We didn't expect it. We didn't know Ipecac would have wanted it. They turned down, Ipecac turned down the first record. They said, sorry, Dave, we don't know, what we're going to do with this or anything.
It was too commercial.
It was too commercial.
Too
He said it
commercial.
was too commercial. Yeah.
He's like, we make people. Yeah, he said we're known for making people sick.
Yeah.
What are we supposed to do with this?
We don't want to make them cry.
Yeah.
We want to make them sick. And so
Wonderful.
yeah, and so so with Ipecac, we were shopping for the second record. We were shopping for another record label, and we were talking to the marketing manager for Ipecac, and he said, "Well, did you ever show this to Greg and Patton?" I said, "No, we just figured that they wouldn't want it because they didn't accept the other one." He goes, he couldn't believe that we didn't show it to Patton and Greg. And so as soon as we showed it to them, they were like, "Oh my God, we love this.
Wow.
We'll do it. We'll take it." And
now they accept good people crying.
That's right.
Now they do. Yes. They understand the value of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been really exciting and fun working with Ipecac, but we still love 31G and Justin Pearson because the really cool moment when I first played the first Venamoris record to Justin, we were mastering a Dead Cross record. So we were listening to hardcore music, and then I played this. I played the first Venamoris record, and they said, and Justin said, "Dave, this is so punk," because it was something so different that I had ever done before. So doing something different and against the grain and something that you're not normally known for is, in his eyes, punk. So, which is really cool.
Yes, it is very, very cool and unexpected for the fans.
Very,
yes.
Very
I imagine the face of Slayer fans when they listen to our talk and then they go listen to the record. They will say, "What?" It will be great.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. Tell me one thing. You are a couple, a beautiful couple. And when couples normally, not every time, but sometimes when they work together, maybe it's a little bit difficult. I want to ask you, how does it work for you? And how does the creative process develop between you two? You take you take work home, or you can separate both?
No, it's been something that I feel it just gave us just another level in our relationship. We already had such a beautiful foundation of like love and communication and trust. We've always just been great communicators in general, among many other things. And I think that this just gave us another way to do that. And I think, for me, and I'm pretty sure for you too, it's just been like another level that just makes us feel even more connected. And then the process, the writing process is, the two albums are completely different. The first album was written based on me just coming back to music, Dave really helping me with that. And so if you listen lyrically to the album from the first song to the last, you'll kind of hear the exploration of that, the discovering myself again, the confusion, some anger in there. But then it flips to love. So it was the journey. The second album, you hear like a radio tuning it in, and that's kind of bringing you out of that into this new part of it. So the second album, that's right out of pandemic. Dave was going on his first tour, and it wasn't short. It was like 4 or 5 weeks with Testament. And for some reason, for me, I've always been very comfortable with Dave touring and my alone time and everything. But this one hit me very hard. And so I went into a period of like really a dark place, introspective, soul searching, hating past mistakes and not liking what I'm seeing in the mirror, too much time, like just too much time by myself. And so the lyrics came out of that. For our writing process, what was happening on that album is I would wake up in the morning, because the songs were all written in the middle of the night, and I would send Dave just a quick voice recording of the melody and just playing it on the piano. And so he would, like, every day he'd wake up to a couple new songs out there. So when he would get home, he already had tons of ideas to help develop. So it kind of meshed together like that. So
yeah, we hadn't finished the artwork for the first record, and the first record wasn't even out yet. And she was sending me all this music. I'm like, oh my God, this is great. And so I was really excited to get home and help her develop the songs. And here we are, another album out, going to be out in February. And we already have 3 to 4 other songs ready for the next record.
What's different too is, so now the new songs that we're writing today, are Dave at home again. So it's taken on another interesting vibe where, a lot of people like to Netflix and chill, I guess they call it. We come up to the studio.
Yeah.
And so we really enjoy creating together. It's really just.
Yeah. She's very, she goes, okay, is it done yet? I said, no, she waits for my final, okay, it's ready. The song's ready.
It's torture.
Yeah, it's terrible. She goes, what else do we need? I said, I don't know. The song needs something else. I can't find it. And then as time goes by, then we'll find an instrument or a sound to add to it that makes the song complete. And I say, okay, it's ready to go. It's ready to go to mixing.
Now it's done. It's done.
Yeah.
Paula, tell me another thing. You have an intensity in your voice that we can feel it when you sing. Where does it come from? All that intensity that is in your voice.
Oh man, I guess a life well lived.
That's a good answer.
Yeah. There's a I don't know, I've always been a ballad singer. That's always been my favorite thing. And the singers that inspire me also write some darker things. I mean, so I think it comes from just that. And like I said, yeah, just life well lived and just trying to project my feelings correctly so people feel what was happening in my mind and in my heart, at that time. And Dave, he had introduced me to a couple vocalists that really showed me new approaches for female singers, which would be Beth Gibbons is the main one.
From Portishead,
of course, right?
I know. I love her.
Yeah, she's brilliant. And I just saw just such a different approach that I'd never seen in my life. So that really helped me also to kind of tap into the more, hey, it's okay to go back to my roots, really,
Yes.
and put it across like a storyteller, like Willie Nelson, like Johnny Cash, like just storytelling. So
Exactly. That's wonderful. I love Beth Givens. She's
yeah.
coming to Portugal.
Oh,
I think in 2 or 3 months. Yes,
oh, great.
Yeah,
it's
she's coming.
wonderful.
Yes.
She'll be here in March
Yep.
as
There's
In
well.
with her
March.
solo.
Yeah.
Yeah, with her solo. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, oh, the solo, exactly.
That's
Paula,
great.
beside writing the songs and singing, you also play piano on this
Mhm.
project. It's
Mhm.
true. It was a challenge for you to play piano or not? You like
No,
it?
the piano is actually in the recording process. I really enjoy that. That's, I wouldn't consider myself somebody that can go out and properly accompany myself.
Mm-hmm.
But in the studio, it comes very natural for me. I studied classical music for 8 years, so I feel very comfortable there. And if anything, I don't know, moving to Nashville, I decided, oh, I need to play the guitar. And I did learn the guitar, but it was very limiting. So to go back to piano now and back to where I'm most comfortable and where I can hear all the notes that I need to hear, it's been really, really great. So I'm very comfortable there.
Dave, in
Yeah.
addition to the drums that you bring to the project, you are responsible for production for the production of the project. The production is something that you enjoy.
Yes, very much. Very much. For some reason, I could envision or I can hear what the song is going to start to sound like. Just from after she plays just the vocal melody, uh, the lyrics, and the piano part, I could already hear it developing. I can this so quickly. It's kind of scary sometimes because I get a clear picture of the direction and how it's going to lay out. Um, so that I really enjoy doing. And I've always wanted to do that, to do production. And this is like the perfect place, the perfect scenario for me to practice, these, this ability.
Mm-hmm.
Thank
Do,
you.
tell me, Paul.
Oh, I was going to say he's really helped me on song structure as well. Dave has a gift with song structure. I'll write a song and it will only be 2 minutes because I'm just going like verse chorus. Maybe it's a bridge or something. But he has really taught me how to create space, how to help the song build, give it a little more intensity. So he's great at that as well.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Do you think with this second record, you are more confident about the project?
Yes. Definitely.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm feeling great about it. I feel like we, some bands, most bands gel by getting into a garage or a rehearsal space and they just practice and practice and practice until they get their sound. And we've allowed ours to develop publicly. So I think now that we've gotten to this, I feel like we've really found the sound that works best for both of us. And that I think also gives the work more confidence.
There's something on your press release that catch my attention when you say that you are continually searching for the soul, and I want to ask you: is the search over with this record?
I don't think so. I think that, I'm writing from life experiences. This To Cross or to Burn is a lot about my past, a lot about healing different things, traumas and different things that have happened. And as life is continuing right now, we're all getting older. There's a lot of things happening in my family. There's a lot of things just happening in the world. So I think, unfortunately, there is a massive well of pain out there that I can always draw from. So I think it's a really healthy expression for me to get things out in this way, and hopefully it reaches other people and they can also feel that.
But another thing that you say is that pain can be a gift. How can we accept pain as a gift, Paula?
I think that if you look at yourself, I have a scar on my knee. That's a terrible scar, right? And it was a lot of pain, but it was when my sister taught me how to ride a bike. You know what I mean? So when I see,
Yeah, I do.
I remember the pain of that, but I also remember the beauty of my sister teaching me. So when I look at that scar now, it's beautiful because it's healed. So I think that if you can heal your pain, you're going to look at your scars a little differently. It's a lesson instead of just pain.
Yeah. Yeah. But we get that lesson when we get older, because when we are younger, we don't understand.
Not at all. We don't understand, which is why I think we make so many bad choices. I don't think we know ourselves. At least I didn't. And I think you make a lot of choices that you don't even understand why you're doing it. You know, a lot of us lack self-awareness and also just respecting yourself. Maybe we just don't know what we're worth. And so I think as you get older, that's one of those gifts too. You know, with every year you learn something more, and hopefully the lessons take hold.
Yes, absolutely. Let's hope so we can be better persons.
Absolutely.
So. Tell me one thing. I think there's a very elegant simplicity in this record. It is important for you both to have a kind of simplicity, a kind of elegance to bring us with your work. Is it important for you? And not so many fireworks and whatever.
Yes, that's why the special guests on the record are very limited. You know, this music, the focus is the vocals. The focus is the storytelling, and it's not about the lead guitar player or, you know, how, you know, or the drumming or anything like that. It's about carrying, it's about delivering the music effectively. You know, you want to deliver these lyrics and the vocals as effective as possible. And if you add all this instrumentation and, you know, all this overproduction, excuse me, you know, you tend to take away from what really matters. And so I think that keeping it this simple and straightforward, I think is what's best for the music. I don't want to overproduce it. I don't want to bring in 101 songwriters and contributors and musicians. You know, for what? We can do the same thing with our approach than we can do with someone else, you know, than bringing in all these, you know, many musicians.
Mm-hmm.
So keeping it as minimal as possible, I think, is best.
Yeah, minimal is elegant, like they used to say. You talk about the collaborations that you had, and dear God, we are crazy when we see the people that you bring to the record.
Yeah.
My God. Okay, but let's begin by one thing. You have a cover of a Scorpion song, and I have to ask Dave to tell us why this song and why Scorpions.
Paula and I, we have a habit of, you know, let's say after dinner, you know, we'll watch a movie. You know, when we're not in the studio after dinner, we'll watch a movie, and then, you know, we'll have some wine, and then we'll listen to some music, and we'll watch YouTube videos and go down these music wormholes, which is what we call them. It's just like we just one song after another. Oh, have you heard this? Oh, have you ever seen this? Hey, what's this? You know, we'll check out different videos and stuff. And one morning, it was probably like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. You know, we were listening to music, and I don't know where it came from, but the idea of animal magnetism came up, and I said, "Oh my God, we have to do this one." And I started envisioning the song and kind of playing it for Paula. You know, no. She didn't want to do it. She said, "No, I'm not going to do this song. This is a classic. I'm not going to, what if people think I ruin it?" I said, no, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. And then I think I remember singing how the melody would go, dun, you know, just really down tempo, babe. Just do it like this. Just sing it like this. It'll be great.
Gary Holt has to play on it.
Yeah, Gary Holt has to play on the lead and all this. And so I was really excited, but she was like really apprehensive. And then the next couple days, not the next day, but the day after that, I told, okay, well, I'm going to go upstairs. I'm going to jump in the shower. And then before I even got in the shower, I'm hearing the piano, da 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 da, you know, that whole, and I run out with my towel, of course. You know, I run out and said, "Is that an animal magnetism?" She goes, "Yeah, I think so." You know, and I immediately went into the studio and I opened up a session for her, and she recorded
Wow.
the basic idea, and then we built the song from there. You know, but she laid down the basic idea, and then, you know, here we are. You know, with
It's a
the
beautiful
song.
cover.
Yeah, it turned out really, really, really good. We're very proud of it, and I hope Rudolf Schenker of the Scorpions was proud of it too.
I think you will.
Me too.
Yeah.
And why did you had the idea to invite Gary Holt from Slayer, the guitarist from Slayer, to play in this song?
Oh, that night when I was telling Paula about the song, that idea came up as well. I said, we'll get Gary Holt to play it. He loves Scorpions. He loves Rudolf Schenker. And he agreed. His wife loved it. He loved it. He goes, wow, this sounds great. Let's do it. And he went into the studio, I think, you know, several weeks later, and recorded the parts and sent it back to me.
Wow, wonderful. But you have another collaborations, very, very strong. You have, let me see, Alex Skolnick from Testament, Trevor
Yes.
Damm for Mr. Bungle, that my little husband adores.
Awesome.
And Ra Diaz from the Suicidal Tendency and Corn.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, Dave, you want to kill us?
Yeah, well, they're just my friends. They're my friends.
I know. And by being your friends and you bring him to the record, so intimate and so strong record, they are my friends too. Sorry. sorry. They are my friends too. But tell me about these choices. Why these people?
Okay, like for example, Stay With Me. Stay With Me is a very simple, just bass and cello. And there is only, I mean, I know a few people that can play cello, but the one person that I felt could interpret the song the best way is, of course, my friend and Doobie brother, Trevor. And I've known Trevor since, God, 1999, when we started Phantomus with Patton. And so when I presented it to him, he goes, wow, this is really cool. He agreed. He agreed to do it, and he did a perfect job. We gave him the basic outline, the basic idea, but what he did was bring the real sound of a cello, and his bass playing, and his articulation, and his approach, and his feel. Yeah. And so, you know, he was perfect for that song. Yeah. And Raw, of course, he was on the first record as well. He has I played with him in Suicidal. The entire time I was in Suicidal, he was in Suicidal. We started and had to move on from the band at the exact same time, which was really odd. And he has a certain feel, you know, and ability, and he understands, you know, delicate, you know, playing, and he always knocks it out of the park. You know, another master guitar player is Alex Skolnick. He's amazing. When I was on tour with Testament in 2022, we had some amazing conversations about different jazz musicians, avant-garde musicians, Latin jazz bands, and we really bonded. And when he was in Spain, he bought in Seville, Spain, he bought this kind of a small guitar, and it wasn't a typical size. It was kind of a little smaller, and I loved the sound that little guitar gave off. And so when we started developing Stain of Pain and Burnt Paper, I felt that I needed to hear that guitar in the recording. So he would, when he got the guitar on that European tour, it was like a 6-week European, 5-6 week European tour. He was playing it backstage. He would play it before, he'd play it on the bus. He would play, I would always hear it. He was always playing guitar. And so that's why I asked him, if he would, and he agreed. He loved the songs, and he said it sounds really, really good, and it sounds like the entire band. There's a band playing together, but there isn't. Everything was done remotely. Nobody met each other. Everything was like I sent him the files. They put them in their system and then send them back.
That's wonderful. Good musicians, they do miracle.
Yeah, they do.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. Tell me another thing. The artwork that I saw, it seems very, very beautiful. All that, I suppose it will be the cover of the record, the black and the red. Who was the artist? Who had this idea?
I guess I did.
Yeah.
An artist. I work with a jazz musician from New York. His name is John Zorn, and he's a dear friend.
I know. We saw John Zorn maybe two years ago here in August.
Oh, wow.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my son and my husband, they are crazy about John Zorn.
Oh, yeah.
So we went to see him.
He's a genius. He's a master. He is so inspirational. Yeah. Well, on his, in his artwork for his record company, Tzadik, he brings in this artist. Her name is Hung Hung Chin. And what I noticed about her artwork, that it's very delicate, very detailed, but it has a certain finesse about it. And if you look at John Zorn's artwork, you will see that finesse and that style. And so I asked John if it was cool, if I could use her. And he said, absolutely. And I contacted her, and she's been our artist since the first record. So yeah, she's great. She's great to work with. And she seems to understand what the music calls for, or I mean, what the art calls.
Well, for example, like on this new album, I had taken a picture of, it was like roots growing across a wall, branches kind of growing across a wall. And I said to Dave, I don't know why I'm taking a picture of this, but I think it represents growth. And I think if we could do something that shows growth, it would make sense for the message of the album. And so that was just in the back of our mind. We sent Hung Hung the album, and she came back with, I don't know why, but I feel, branches, growth, this. And I was like, okay, she gets it. Let's just let her run with it.
Yeah.
And she was the same way with the first album. We never gave her any idea. We didn't know what we wanted. And she came back with the bleeding heart flower, which is special in my own way.
It's so beautiful.
It's gorgeous. And I loved the idea of it against the lyrics, just bleeding heart. And also it was a flower that my mom used to show me all the time when I was a little girl. And so it was immediate, like, yep, that's it. That's the direction. So she is 100% in tune with us.
Yeah, she very much pays attention to detail. Yeah. Detail that we wouldn't even notice. And it's like, oh my God, this is great. So she's brilliant. Yeah.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Cross to Burn will be released on the 28th of this month, I suppose, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct.
You're correct.
What are your expectations regarding the record, regarding how the public, the audience, the fans will accept it, will listen? What are your expectations regarding this?
I think that we're hopeful that it'll be received well, and that it'll have a nice reach and people will enjoy it. But one of the things that Dave taught me in those pandemic years was when you put music out, you don't, or when you're creating music, you don't create with expectations ever. So you know, when you're creating, it doesn't like, oh, this has to do this for me, or this is going to do this for me. We're just creating. And I think that the same thing is happening with the release of the album now. You know, it's going to go out and that's it. And another lesson again from Dave is once you release something, on to the next. You hope the best for it. It's like a child. Go out there, you know, I hope the best for you. But you need to, yeah, see you later. But, you know, we hope you do well, but now we're on to the next. So it's the healthiest mindset, I think.
Yes,
yeah,
it is.
We get nervous, you
Absolutely.
know, whenever the release, like whenever we release a single, you know, we get nervous the night before, the day before, you know, a couple days before. Oh no, oh man, I hope it goes well.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's all right. Just don't worry about it.
Yeah.
No stress, no anxiety. Just let it go. And so that's how we are. You can't really put any kind of expectation, because then the only person that you're going to disappoint is yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it doesn't matter what people think. It's for us personally in this home, what matters is the fact that we created something and we put it out. That's it. You know, it's like a pottery maker, a person that makes pottery. You know, they make pottery every day and they put it out and it sells, you know, and that's it. That's all they think about. And that's their art. And it just goes, you know, out into the world. And I feel like that's how we need to be. So that way we don't get disappointed in ourselves, you know, if it doesn't do what we expect it to be.
Yeah, I think it's the best way to go. Mm-hmm. Paula, you have a good teacher, huh?
I have the best teacher.
You have the best.
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
You know, it's funny. Let me add a little something here. You know, it's funny what Paula said. When we were trying to get her out of this, you know, kind of this dry spell.
Yeah, we were trying to break down the walls.
Down the walls. She bought several books for the creative mind, you know, how to be creative and how to, you know, release any anxiety or anything that was holding you back. And Paula would say, you know what? Every chapter I read, I could just put a picture of you there because it's what you do, you know?
Yeah.
And
he lives that way.
I kind of live that way. And so it's,
That's
I don't know why I said that. But
that's wonderful. That's wonderful, Dave. You have to write a book.
He should write a book. I think so.
The lessons of life by Dave Lombardo.
Yeah,
that's right. I know, right?
It.
I know, and I think it would matter. I think that'd be. It is funny because he really did exercise, like without me even realizing it. I'm like,
without me even knowing that these things were written in a book.
Yeah.
Like, for example, during pandemic, I would have my breakfast, I would have my coffee, and then I would say, okay, I'm going to go take a shower and I'm going to go to work. And I would go into the studio and go to work. Mm-hmm. And then in the books, they would say, you know, seduce your muse.
Yeah, seduce your work, you know, entice it. So it would suggest, you know, take a shower, put on that red lipstick that you haven't put on.
Lipstick.
You know, all this.
I put on cologne. I'd go into my studio all dressed up, ready to go. And it was amazing because I was able to release the Venamoris record, my drum solo record. I worked with Empire State Bastard. You know, there were several projects that kept coming to me during pandemic. And I don't know, maybe it was that or just, I don't know what it was, but it was interesting.
It was interesting. I think the universe brings us something and we have to accept it. And when it's something so good, we have to go with the flow.
Yes, absolutely.
I think you're right.
Yep, I agree.
Tell me one thing, because I'm really, really curious. Are you going to perform this album live?
I wish.
Oh.
Paula, come on.
Paula, I I'm expecting you to come to Portugal, please.
Come on, Paula.
Oh man. I mean, I would love to. I think maybe one day. It's really hard for me to envision it. You know, one thing that we have talked about is if it ever happens, we don't want to perform it with tracks. We would want to have an actual stage of musicians that would make this come to life properly in the way that we hear it and feel it. And of course, that would take a lot because we would need like strings and upright bass, you know, all the various things, many vocalists to fill in some bigger parts.
The backup vocals.
Yeah, so it's a lot. And I think that for a project that's new, the budget to do something like that is quite a lot. So we have to be realistic there too. But that if it did happen, that's how I would hope.
Yeah, me too.
So we'll see.
Yeah, because we would need, probably 2 cellists, a viola, a violin, a piano, synthesizer, backup vocals, guitar, bass, and of course me drums.
Yeah.
So or conductor. I don't know what I'd be doing. It has to be done right. I mean, we could go on stage right now and play. I'll play drums. She sings with backing tracks. But no, that's not. I mean,
that works for some people, but I don't. I don't feel it's like a. I don't know. It just feels more like a glorified karaoke vibe, which I've done enough in my life.
Yeah, I do understand.
Yeah.
But make this promise to me. If someday you play it live, please bring it to Lisbon, okay?
I would love to.
Yes,
I would love to.
I will be on the front row, huh?
Oh,
okay.
It would be so nice to meet you in person.
Paula, Dave, it was a big, huge, enormous pleasure for me for having you both here in my house. And I wish you all the best because you are both great people and you are a wonderful couple. And I think it will be... The universe has a lot of good things for you, and you have so good things to give us, like good music, good vibes, and all these gothic feelings that I love.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you for that.
Well, this interview is it has set our tone for the day.
Yes, it has. It was a wonderful conversation.
It was a great conversation. We really appreciate you listening, and thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. All the best for you.
Thank you. You too.
Obrigado.
Obrigado. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, bye.